What up, ladies and gentlemen? We are at the newly opened Suzuki dealership GT Superbikes in Pontyclean, and we are riding the Suzuki GSX-8S. God's honest truth, I've never actually ridden a Suzuki before, so bear with me on this one. Let's take it for a spin.
So normally at the start of these reviews, we'll do a sound check. We'll rev it up to red line just to see how it sounds. But out of respect for the dealership and this bike, because this bike is brand new, I'm not going to do that. So you'll be able to hear what it sounds like as we're riding, but I'm not going to be red lining this bike today. What I can tell you, having only just left the dealership, is there's a surprising amount of just instant power with this bike that you don't have to rev it at all. It just goes. It's like, it's ready. It's just always ready to go. But we'll talk about power later. There's plenty of it. It's got some instant pickup, man. It's insane. That's cool. Right, so as always, we'll start with comfort and ergonomics. So I have a slightly forward lean. I wouldn't say that it's a sports position, but I also wouldn't say it's a fully upright position either. It's kind of in between the two. Sporty, I'm going to call it sports casual. Sports casual is the way I would describe it. I can easily flat foot the bike with even a slight bend in my knee. I'm 5'11". So if you are of average height, you'll have an easy time. If you're tall, you won't feel cramped. There's plenty of room. Feet are slightly behind me, and like they almost feel a little bit tucked, like they're up a little bit higher than what I would think, but it's not uncomfortable at all. Obviously, being a naked, you're not going to get any kind of wind protection. I'm sure you could buy a fairing or something for this, but there's nothing on there as standard. But that's not the kind of bike you're buying, so you can't really complain. Brakes are good, so they're not overly sharp. The bike feels lighter than what it suggests as well. We'll have to look up the actual curb weight in a second, but it does not feel heavy in the slightest. This bike has a longer wheelbase than the other rivals, should we say, in the 700-800cc sector, like the MT-07 and the Hornet. So it means it feels a little bit more stable. Clutch is fairly light. I have been riding a lot of Kawasaki's, as you guys know, so I have been using the assist clutch from them. So this feels obviously heavier than that, but I mean, it's still a light clutch. It's easy, good for commuting. Just a little brake test. Yeah, they're good. They're not overly sharp. They're not like the sort of really sharp, nasty brakes. This has seriously got some pickup on it. Wow. I like that. That's cool. So then, speaking of power, this bike's got around 82 horsepower, I believe it is. And you feel it. It feels like it might have slightly more than that. I'm not sure. It might be because it's light, or I don't really know. I don't really know why I feel that, but it feels like it's got a bit more. I was reading that this is the first Suzuki new engine and platform since the late 90s, which is crazy. But I mean, when Suzuki makes something, they do make it to last. I remember reading something about them in the 70s or the 80s stripping apart a very high mileage bike to see what had failed on it, because they were going to use all the pieces that hadn't failed in what was to become the first superbike, because Suzuki basically invented the superbike. But when they tore this bike apart, they painted everything that was broken or unusable red, and everything that was still fine blue. Hardly anything was red. Most of it was blue, and even they were shocked. But it was a testament to how, not over-engineered, but like how reliable Japanese bikes and Suzuki bikes are. got 82 horsepower on this middleweight bike. It's not a small bike, it's not a big bike, it's somewhere in between the two. I think it's got slightly more horsepower than most of its rivals, maybe slightly less than one or two of them. Even though it's got very decent peak power, Suzuki haven't built it specifically for that. They've built it to have more mid-range torque delivery and more mid-range power delivery, so that the bike is just more usable day to day, rather than absolutely wringing his neck on a dyno. Like, those are proper willy wagon numbers. Those are. What matters more is what the bike is to live with day to day, and that's what the point of this review is, I guess, and all of my reviews. It means that you can be really lazy with your riding as well, or you can be really fast if you want to be. But if you want to be lazy, it doesn't really matter what gear you're in. When you take your first couple of corners on this bike, you kind of feel like you're leaning a bit too far, because it feels like the bike's going to be heavier than what it is. But it's actually quite a lot leaner, and that long wheelbase is making it feel a lot more stable. I was chatting to Gareth at the dealership, and he was saying about the different modes on this bike. You've got A, B, and C rather than, you know, track, road, and rain, like you might get on other bikes. And B is the sweet spot. He said that. I've seen other reviewers say it, and he's right. A is apparently just a lot snatchier, instant throttle response. C is a little bit lazier and a bit more, not docile, but chill. It's for riding around town. But B, you can so easily control your throttle response. Like, your throttle is doing exactly what I'm asking it to do. It's almost telepathic. I'm not reacting to the bike reacting to my input. I'm just riding. The 0 to 60 time of this bike is about 3.5 seconds. It feels very, very, very fast. It's very smooth as well. Like, yeah, it throws you back, but it's just... I don't know how to explain it. It just pulls you at those speeds. The numbers are just flying up. And the gear change is sublime. It's so silky smooth. Obviously, it is a brand new bike, but wow. I like a bit of a mechanical clunk when I change gears, but not too much. Like, my Harley's a bit much. It's like dropping a metal spanner in a bucket. Kawasaki's are one step obviously below that. You feel it, but you hear it. This has got the right amount. You can feel it, you can hear it, but it's more precise. It's still there. It's not muted, so that I don't get the feeling that I've not changed gear. It's a very strong signal that you get that you have changed gear, but it's not too strong that it's distracting. This is probably the most grown-up bike I've ever ridden. And I'm not saying that in a bad way, I'm saying it in a good way. It's very comfortable. It looks nice. I love the color on it. It's got enough power, more than enough power. Most people will never use the amount of power that this thing has got. Oh, yes. Oh, man, it tips over like a dream. It's so smooth in the way that it kind of leans. I don't know if that's the longer wheelbase or what, but it just leans really nicely. So well judged. Just wow. It's just a nice place to be. Okay, so now we are in town. A little heavier traffic than I would like for a review, but I can't control everything, can I? But this should give you a good idea of what it's like to ride this bike through a town anyway. Which, to be fair, will be full of traffic wherever you are in the UK. I will say the seat feels like it's quite thin, and I feel like if you did a long ride on one of these, you'd start feeling that more and more and more and more. I'm guessing they've done that to keep the seat to their required seat height for the class. I'm not sure, but it's a little bit harder than I would like. Maybe a little bit of a softer seat, but that's such a millennial thing to say. I need more cushioning for my buttocks. Quick shifter on this from standard, which is really nice to have. I think it's starting to become more commonplace now that almost every bike comes with a quick shifter as standard. I watched Motorbob's review of this bike last night, and he, to be fair, he loves it as well, but he said something about the dash. He said that the TFT display, which I know you can't really see there because I've got my GoPro in the way, but he said that in a world where other competitors have got all this Bluetooth and connect your phone and all this kind of stuff to it, this phone feels a little bit basic or something. I'm not quoting him verbatim, but that's basically what he said. But, I mean, I don't care. I don't want Bluetooth and connectivity and rideology apps and all this kind of nonsense. And to be fair, I don't think he does either. As bike reviewers, we've got to be shown to be kind of impartial. We can't just say everything is amazing and there's nothing wrong with the bike just for the sake of the brand relationship. We have to be honest about things. But I think sometimes, and I'm guilty of it too, sometimes you've got to look for things that you're not really that bothered about, but you've got to kind of pretend that you are, just so that there's a bit of a balance in the review. You're not outright just saying that the bike's perfect, because no bike is perfect. In the way that the bike rides, though, I am struggling to find fault. I am. So we've got perfectly wide bars, exactly as I would want them. I can flat foot the thing. I've got a quick shifter. It's got more power than most people will ever use on a bike in their life. The suspension is very, very comfortable. It leans really nice. It's got a long wheelbase, so it's nice and stable, which we're going to find out in the motorway in a couple of minutes. Very simple modes, which are actually usable and do something. Like a lot of the bikes, the ZX4RR, for instance, why does that have modes? This one, there's a clear reason that the modes exist. There's a clear difference between them. It's almost like that when the Suzuki engineers sat down, they went, right, so today we're talking about suspension. This is the one end of it, this is the other end of it. Like, this is the harshest end, this is the softest end. Where do we want to be? And they've gone from the middle with everything. And this is £1,000 more than the Honda Hornet. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, it's worth £1,000. I haven't ridden the Hornet, so I don't know. I can't tell you. If you've ridden it, though, then you tell me. If you've ridden both of them. I'm hoping to breach into Honda either this summer or maybe in the next season. But for today, this is my first Suzuki, which is strange, I know. But I've driven a Suzuki, but the cars, one of them, it was awful. But it was an old one across Corfu. This is the first Suzuki bike I've ridden, and I'm very impressed. It's very grown up in a good way. This is a bike for people that have been biking for a while, I think. This is not the bike that you put on your bedroom wall when you're a kid and aspire to have one day. Just a really well-engineered machine that is bought by people that understand. If we said that Ducati is like the Ferrari of motorcycles, right? They're the ones that you have up on your bedroom wall. You aspire to have one of these one day. This would be like one of those like really fast, understated Volvos. Like, you don't think I want to put a Volvo up on my bedroom wall, do you? But when one absolutely flies past you and you realize it's got stupid amounts of power and it's just built really well and it does everything you ask it to do really nicely. Speaking of Volvos, trust I would run into one when I said that. Like, Suzuki is one of the big bike names, but it's often not the first one that a lot of people would say, unless they've got lots of experience in bikes or they're like riding instructors and stuff like that. They love Suzukis. And they're putting this engine in absolutely everything at the moment. It's in the V-Strom. I think it's in one of their other bikes as well. And before I rode it, I thought, oh, that's a bit lazy. Why are they doing that? But I totally get it. If it's not broke, then why fix it? It's a brilliant engine. I mean, you've got bags of power, low down and high up. You've got a decent engine note and a nice sound coming from it. You've got mid-range torque, really meaty mid-range torque. Pulls from the get-go. It's probably very fuel efficient as well, just knowing Japanese engineering. And if you look after it, it'll last you a lifetime. It'll look after you. So we're going to be jumping on the motorway in a second, because I like to do a little bit of everything in these reviews. We do a bit of lanes, we do a bit of town riding, and we do a bit of motorway as well, so that it covers all bases of what someone would reasonably ride. If you ride a little bit more aggressively and you're changing gears like I did then, it does have that kind of like buckshot feel when you change in between the gears, kind of like you do on like a BMW M anything, so especially the older M2. I remember when I changed gears in that, it like knocked you back, not with the power, but just with the sudden torque change. And this kind of does it if you ride aggressively. If you ride smoothly, it doesn't. But if you are getting on it, just be aware you might have a little bit of a shock when you change gear. Beautiful day. I really like the new RST gear as well, by the way. I thought I'd be really hot in this, but I'm not. Right, motorway test. I might have to be quiet for this and do it in voiceover. We'll see. Very, very, very nice to ride in all different ways. Through lanes, through town, and on the motorway. It's fine for all of those things. It's more than fine. It does everything that you ask of it. It's got plenty of power for overtaking. It's also happy to just sit there and cruise. That long wheelbase is making it very stable and comfortable. Got a bug in my helmet. Okay, we're back. In terms of competition then, you've got the M207 and you've also got the Honda Hornet. And it's difficult to say, like, obviously this is £1,000 more than the Hornet, I believe. We'll look at the figures when we get back. But, I mean, is there a, like, big standout stat or feature on this bike that makes it £1,000, worth £1,000 more than the Hornet? I'm not sure. It might just come down to personal preference. I mean, you might really want a Suzuki over a Honda, but I mean, a Honda's not exactly an unreliable bike, is it? They're both massive names for reliability. I don't know. I don't know what would be the main thing that would say, right, this is why it's £1,000 more than the Hornet. This is why it justifies that. I don't know. I'll do some research and I'll if I can find anything, I'll add it in voiceover afterwards. Obviously, I haven't ridden the Hornet. What I can say is I've really enjoyed my ride on this. For full disclosure, I'm probably the worst person to review motorcycles because I fucking love them. I remember my days on a 50cc Derby GPR. I remember my first Kawasaki KX60. I remember some of the really shit 125s that I had. But do you know what? I love them. Even if the bike is crap, I can find a way to have a good time on it. I just love bikes. That is not to say that I'm not going to give you the negatives or drawbacks of a bike if there are some that I find. But I just want you to be aware that a lot of the time I'm going to say that I enjoy the bike, but XYZ. There's not a lot to dislike about this one. The seat is a little bit hard. That's literally all I can say, which is crazy. Have you got experience with this bike? Is there something glaring that I'm missing that's wrong with it? Let me know in the comments below. Maybe it doesn't have bags of character and stuff, but it's just a fantastic bike. And what more can you really ask for? If you want character, go buy a puppy. If you want a bike, get one of these.
I looked, but I couldn't find any massive standout figure or thing that makes the Suzuki better value than the Honda, but I figured it out myself. It makes less peak power than the Honda, but it makes it in a better place for the road. The Hornet would be better on a track where you can rev it out freely, but if you want more day-to-day power that's easily accessible, then the Suzuki is the better choice. And back at the dealership, I realized you can have it in one of 3 flavors to suit your style. That's all for now. Make sure you're subscribed.